AITAH for cutting off my adult children and telling them that they will lose their inheritance next if they do not stop attacking my wife. I am a 56-year-old widower. My children's mother, Claire, passed away 15 years ago. We had been together since middle school. I had never been with another woman, obviously. I dove into my children and my work. I finished raising 2 great kids with help from my parents, her parents, and my sister and her husband. With my wife's life insurance money and the mortgage insurance, I had more money than I would ever need. I made sure my kids graduated from college with no debt. I also bought each of them an apartment near where they went to school where they could live and make some money by renting the spare rooms to friends. My daughter still has hers and she rents it out every year to kids going to that school. My son sold his and made enough money to buy the house he and his family live in. 5 years ago I met the woman I am married to now, Maggie. She was a single mother with 2 young kids. She was 32 and her kids were 5 and 7. She was a front desk person at the hotel where I stayed for work for 11 months. We talked all the time and we clicked. When my job was coming to an end, she asked me out. I was flattered that such a pretty young woman would be interested in me. We had a nice date and I started traveling to see her. 1 year later we got married and she moved into my home. It was the house I bought for myself after I sold my old family home because I could not be there without Claire. My kids had graduated and were living in different cities when I sold the old house. My children do not approve of Maggie. They think she is too young and that she is just with me for my money. They know that I paid for her to go to school full-time and finish her degree. She had been taking classes part-time when we met. I became a stay-at-home dad when I was not working and I paid for childcare when I was away. Maggie is currently working as a teacher. They also think that it is gross that an old man is using up her time and that she will have to take care of me when I get old and feeble. My dad is still going strong at 80. I told them to mind their own business and let us be happy. They will not. They started saying some very rude things and skipping out on visiting me. They started telling my grandchildren that they should not be friends with my step-kids. When we came to see them this last Christmas, my grandchildren said some things I will not repeat, but I could tell they were saying things that my kids had said. We left the gifts we had brought and came home. I talked to my wife and told her that I was sorry for my children's behavior and that I did not think she was a gold digger. I was sick of their disrespect for myself and Maggie. I stopped helping them with extra money. They are both debt-free, to the best of my knowledge, and they both have good careers. I just tended to do things like upgrade their vacations and big purchases. For example, when my daughter bought her last car, I threw in $20,000 to make sure she got one with all the bells and whistles without having a huge car note. When my son took his family to Disney World, I paid for them to have the private tour guide so the kids could go on all the rides without having to wait in line for hours in the Florida heat. Both of them have called me to ask for help since Christmas. I said no both times. Just after Valentine's Day they came for a visit, just the 2 of them. They asked me to meet with them without my wife present. I agreed and we had lunch. They said that they are worried that Maggie is using undue influence to control me and my money. I told them that I am not a senile old man. I have a prenup. I have done some things, like set up education accounts for my new kids, that used up a bunch of money I had not planned on spending. I also adopted the kids. Before I did that, I also got a lawyer to get all the child support that Maggie was owed by her ex. He agreed to let me adopt the kids once he figured out he would be off the hook for any further child support. He had not bothered seeing them in the 3 years prior to me meeting Maggie. I told them that since they could not respect me, I was done subsidizing their lives. I said that my mom and dad were unlikely to leave me anything when they passed away and that they should expect the same from me. They kind of stared at me in shock. I asked them why they thought they deserved any of the money I have worked for if they cannot treat me with respect. I said that I did not expect them to treat Maggie as a mother figure since she is only a few years older than them, but that they should have treated her kindly. When lunch was over, I paid my share of the bill and left. Both of them have called me to say that I was being an a-hole trying to control them with my money. I said that I did not ask them to change their behavior. I was just done tolerating it. My son is holding steady with his feelings and I have no problem with that. He can feel however he wants. I only have a problem with his behavior. My daughter has called me to apologize and say that she would like a second chance to get to know Maggie and her new siblings. We are going to get together in Mexico this summer when Maggie and all the kids are off school. My daughter and her husband are paying for their own flights and everything. I am letting them stay at the guest suite in the condo complex where I have my vacation home.